Hello and welcome, dear friends and fellow cinema lovers. Today I'm going to talk about the 2024 comedy drama Hindi film Madgaon Express. I'll make an attempt to provide a semiotic analysis of this black comedy. So let us begin with the basic introduction of the director of the film, Kunal Khemu. The film is a directorial debut of Kunal Khemu, who is quite an active member of Hindi film industry as an actor. This was his first film as a director. Since this is his first film, we cannot bring the autorial features into consideration while analyzing the film. And hence, we will have to concentrate on the generic features of the film and film's intertextual messages to analyze this specific film. So, Madgaon Express is a film that can be identified as a dark comedy genre film centered on three childhood friends: Dhanush Sawant, who is identified as Dodo. This role is played by Devyendu. Pratik Garodia, who is also identified as Pinku, and this role is performed by Pratik Gandhi. And Ayush Gupta, the role is performed by Avinash Tiwari. These three childhood friends who dream of a carefree trip to Goa. The film describes their attempt to enjoy that trip. Their journey spirals into chaos when they accidentally become entangled with a drug mafia due to a bag mix up involving cash, a gun, and cocaine. The film blends slapstick humor, witty dialogue, and action, drawing comparisons to buddy comedies like Dil Chahta Hai, Hangover, Go Goa Gone, and Delhi Belly. The film explores themes of friendship, escapism, and the collision of youthful aspirations with chaotic reality, set against the vibrant backdrop of Goa. Coming to the semiotic analysis, semiotics normally make the distinction between denotative and connotative meaning. So first we see the denotation or the denotative meaning. The literal elements of Madgaon Express include its setting, that is Goa, the Madgaon Express train, and the characters, basically the three friends, and then the mafia dons and a drug dealer. And the plot of the film, that is a trip gone wrong due to a mistaken bag. The film features visual elements like beaches, trains, and urban Mumbai settings. Alongside props such as gun, cash, and cocaine, the narrative unfolds through comedic sequences, shootouts, and character driven humor. The connotations we can take up one by one. The first one is the Goa, because Goa becomes a symbol here. Goa is a spatial metaphor in Hindi cinema, not only in this film, that stands for freedom, hedonism, and escape from societal constraints. In Madgaon Express, it connotes the characters' longing for liberation from their mundane lives. For example, Pinku in Cape Town, Ayush in New York, and Dodo's fabricated social media person. However, the chaotic events subvert this fantasy, suggesting that escapism comes with unforeseen consequences. The beach, typically a site of leisure, becomes a space of danger and absurdity, reflecting the tension between aspiration and reality. The train, that is the Madgaon Express, which is also connotatively significant. The train is a literal mode of transport, but also a metaphor for transition and unpredictability. Trends in Indian cinema, again, often symbolize journeys of self discovery or chaos. For example, in movies like Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge or Jab We Met. Here, the Madgaon Express is a portal. The train is a portal, for the three protagonists that allows them to dream about reclaiming their youth and childhood dream. But its derailment into mafia conflicts connotes the fragility of their plans. The train's name, tied to a specific Goan destination, reinforces regional identity and cultural specificity. The trend is given so much of an importance that the entire climax is shot into a bogey of the train, and all the major characters of the film are there in that particular train bogey. The bag, the mistaken bag, the mistaken bag containing cash, a gun, and cocaine is a classic MacGuffin driving the plot forward. It is a sign of chaos and moral ambiguity, thrusting the protagonist into a world of crime they are unprepared for. The bag's contents are significant too. Money, which symbolizes greed, a gun symbolizes violence, and drugs symbolizes illicit pleasures, as they represent temptations that disrupt the protagonist's innocent adventures. The characters as archetypes, the trio embodies distinct archetypes. Dodo, the deceptive dreamer, Pinku, the reluctant conformist, and Ayush, the rational anchor. Their interactions reflect the dynamics of friendship, with Dodo's social media facade symbolizing modern performative identity, a critic of digital culture's pressure to project their success. Interestingly, three friends also emerge as different individuals through their performance within the narrative of the film. They manage to find out their true selves, which was also clearly articulated by Piku in the film. The cultural and social codes as used in cinema. The most important one is the friendship and masculinity. The film taps into the cultural code of Yarana, or what we normally call bromance, prevalent in Hindi cinema. We can take up the examples of Dil Chahta Hai or Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. The three friends' camaraderie, marked by banter and loyalty despite mishaps, reinforces idealized notions of male friendship in Indian culture, where bonds are tested through shared adversity. The repeated reference to adjusting their oranges, a euphemism for male genitalia in Vox 1990s Bollywood comedy, signaling a nostalgic, irreverent masculinity that contrasts with the more polished romances of contemporary cinema. Of course, we must remember that in the movie, when this particular dialogue is used, I quote unquote adjusting their oranges, it is not specifically about male genitalia. Second code is Goa as a cultural signifier. Goa's depiction draws on its cultural code as a liminal space in Indian imagination, a place where social norms are relaxed and hedonistic behavior such as partying, drugs, prostitutes is normalized. This contrasts with the conservative values often associated with Mumbai, where the Friends originate. The film's use of psychedelic drugs and mafia elements amplifies Goa's association with excess and danger, critiquing the romanticized view of it as a carefree paradise. Mafia and crime, again an important code in Indian cinema. The mafia dons, for example, Kanchan Komri and Mendoza Bhai, and the undercover cop Danny introduce a crime comedy code, blending humor with danger. Kanchan Komri, a gun-toting fisherwoman, subverts gender norms by embodying a traditionally masculine role, while her name, which includes Komri, which literally means hand in Marathi, adds a layer of regional humor. The identity of these two dons and their relationship also connote the social reality of the Goa. The female don is Marathi Hindu, while the male don is Goan Christian. but they were in a romantic involvement, suggesting the hybrid nature of the society. The mafia's presence reflects a broader Indian cinematic fascination with organized crime, symbolizing the underbelly of society that disrupts the protagonist Nayu plans, class, and aspiration. The friends' inability to afford flight tickets and their reliance on the train highlight class constraints, a recurring theme in majority of Indian cinema. Dodo's fake social media penthouse reflects the pressure to perform upward mobility in a society obsessed with status. The film critiques aspirational culture where dreams of glamour clash with gritty reality. Intertextuality is yet another important aspect of this film. Madgaon Express is rich with intertextual references, positioning it with the lineage of Hindi and global buddy comedies. So let us first begin with Hindi cinema. The film explicitly references Dil Chahta Hai, a seminal friendship film, and Go Goa Gone, a zombie comedy set in Goa. The music of Dil Chahta Hai, that is the background music where these three friends title song was played, is used quite a few times in the film, reminding us that this idea of going to Goa for a trip uh, that comes from the movie itself. And Go Goa Gone, the movie was actually a kind of horror comedy, and the film's director Kunal Khemu was part of that film. And that the film also talks about certain forms of drugs and its impact, which created zombies in the film. Critics compare the film to Delhi Belly for its chaotic humor and Hera Fairy for its slapstick comedy. These references create a dialogue with Bollywood's comedy tradition, appealing to audiences familiar with these films. The Govinda style humor, for example, crude jokes, exaggerated characters, evokes 1990s Bollywood, blending nostalgia with modern sensibilities. The global cinema, basically the companions uh, to The Hangover, suggest a note to Hollywood's chaotic buddy comedy genre, where plans go awry due to excess, both drugs and partying. And the fish market fight with Dodo and Pinku, disguised as fisherwomen, recalls cross-dressing gags in comedies like Tutsi or Mrs. Doubtfire, adapted to a distinctly Indian context. So that is all from my side. Thank you.